Hello there. This is Louis Herms here with Screw Big Gov, and I have the amazing Kristen Ludlow here. And we are talking about pets. Her knowledge is epic, and the solutions seem to be even better. So, how are you doing today?
I'm doing fantastic. Blessed beyond measure. Thank you. How
I
are
love
you?
it. Love it. Phenomenal. Yep, just working hard and loving what you brought to the table last time, and I want to hear a lot more today. So, enlighten us. What's going on in the pet world?
Oh my goodness. It's a loaded question. There's so much happening, and I'm just so grateful that you had us come on last time to just kind of share overall basically what's been happening with a lot of the foods and treats and toys that we've been giving our pets and how that's been making them pretty sick and causing a lot of these different conditions. Again, I would just want to remind people in case they were unable to watch that there's a great documentary called Pet Fooled, Petfooled, that takes a look into the pet supply industry. And that's where they found that the overwhelming majority of these conditions are actually stemming from exposure to the foods and treats and all of the stuff that our pets are chewing and ingesting. And so, we are really passionate about being the change that we want to see in the world and being a voice, especially for those that don't have one, because our pets are completely dependent on us to make good decisions for them and to be giving them what's best. They don't get a say in it. And we know that well-informed people make better decisions. So our heart is just to educate people and let them know why they're experiencing what they're experiencing. And then what we can do as pet parents to kind of push back and say, no, let's take this control, put this control back in our hands, and let's get our pets' bodies functioning the way that God designed them to, because everything's so intelligently designed. And He has given us everything that we need just growing out on the ground in nature to be able to function properly and course correct and self-regulate and repair and rebuild different parts of the bodies. And so that's what we've been doing, is just connecting people with all that God has given us and sharing with them what we can do to keep our pet parents happy or keep our pets happier and healthier. But also we want to help people because it can be pretty costly, those vet visits. Some people are unfortunately having to spend thousands of dollars at the vets to get their pets back on track. So we like to help do those things naturally.
Yeah, it's actually parallel exactly what's happening in the human race. I mean, it's identical, if not worse, to the pets because there's less real, let's say, people regulation on that.
It is actually worse for the pets. And it's the same mentality, right? When you look back at everything, it's always about money, how they can make more money. And even if where we are today is not malicious, like maybe that wasn't their ultimate goal, was to make all the pets sick so that they can have a lot of money. However, what's happened over decades of small incremental compromises has led us to where we are today. So whether it started out malicious or not, it has become that now decades later. And unfortunately, as we've seen with a lot of the pharmaceutical companies and all of that, a lot of times they're not looking for cures, they're just looking for more customers.
Mm-hmm.
So it would seem that they've kind of created this loop where I eat the stuff that makes me sick, I get the stuff that makes me better, and then I keep eating the stuff that's making me sick, and I keep taking the stuff that's making me better, supposedly. And it's just this never ending
Mm-hmm.
cycle
Mm-hmm.
that we get stuck in for both our pets and people. And the animal industry is so much more loosely regulated. Like a lot of people don't know. I guarantee you, pull out some of those major name brands that everybody knows of, their foods and their treats. You see the word animal byproducts on there. It's on almost every single package in the ingredients. And just that one ingredient are unclean meat sources. So guess what's included when you see animal byproducts on a package? Roadkill,
Oh, wow.
euthanized animals that are too sick for human consumption, all get sold to pet food manufacturers at a discount. And then they just call it animal byproducts. And
So
you look at these packages, especially if you just go to major big box stores and you just go one at a time, look at the ingredients. It's shocking to see how many of these products have animal byproducts in them, which can be toxic for our pets.
So it's the typical problem solution matrix
Mhm.
where they create the problem and then they give you the solution, and that's what creates that loop.
Mhm.
And like you say, even if they're in it for the money, there had to be a time where they figured out that they were poisoning our animals, and then ethically they made a choice to go, well, we're already making money on it, so we don't want to ruin our money line, therefore we're just going to keep doing what we're doing, turn a blind eye.
Mhm.
I just wonder when they don't understand that the devil's tickling their ear.
I know.
It's just absolutely maddening to me that they're just like, oh, okay, and it so they're putting ethics over paycheck. I mean, paycheck in front of ethics is what they're really doing.
It is, and I think it's really hard for, especially for people that I cannot fathom making those decisions or knowingly doing those things. So, like you said, it's, we're a slave either way, right? We're a slave to God or we're a slave to the devil,
Yeah,
essentially.
make a
So,
choice.
yeah, but the people make their choices and it is what it is. And, at the end of the day, what we can do is pray for discernment and ask God, first of all, to give us the eyes to see these things and the ears to hear these things
Mhm.
so that we can discern and point them out. And then we got to push back. Like we can't just let this continue. And that's what makes me so upset about it, is for how many years we didn't know. And people always say, things are getting so bad. They're getting so bad. And I'm like, really? Are you sure about that? I feel like they've always been so bad. We just didn't know.
Yes.
Now we know. So in my mind, that's like things are getting better. Light is being shined. All of these things are being exposed, all of these dark places and these people that we thought we could trust. Like how much were you told growing up to trust your teachers, trust your doctors, trust your pastors, trust, all of these different areas of authority. And while not all of them are, unethical or making these bad decisions, there are people that exist in those positions. And so we have to open our eyes, trust your politicians, trust this, trust that. Well, no, at the end of the day, if it doesn't align with the will of God, I'm not doing it. I'm not
Yeah.
complying. I'm not trusting it. If it is not my Father's voice that I'm hearing, then I don't want anything to do with it. And that's what we're seeing in the pet supply industry. All of this stuff that's happening, they're not fruits of the spirit. I'll tell you that.
Mhm.
It's not coming from love. It's coming from, power, money, greed, all of these other things. And so we really got to push back against all of that. And we got to be thankful that there are good people doing the research and making these documentaries and like finding all of this stuff out and pointing it out for us. So then we can go and make educated decisions
Mhm.
and really know what to do moving forward. And we got to starve them with our dollars. Like it just comes down to, we have to redirect a lot of this spending that's happening. The best way that we can support these practices, and be a part of the problem, is to keep purchasing the same things from the same people. Like we have to be so much more intentional about where we're spending our money and who and what we're supporting. And that's our best way to fight back, is just to starve them with our dollars,
Yeah. Yeah. And it's interesting because people don't grasp a lot of times how hard it is. So a great example is, I may have had well over 100 businesses and people come to me with products and services they wanted me to promote. That's what they do. And I've only taken 3 so far. One is a wonderful supplement for humans, right? The FDA is on them so hard and so crazy about what they do and how they say it. So they'll let a pharmaceutical company that's poisoning you say the word cure, but
Mhm.
if you even go close to hinting a cure, even in a testimonial, they're going to come to shut you down,
Mhm.
which is amazing. Do you find is there any regulatory board that comes after the pet industry?
No, like I said, it's much more loosely regulated. So there's a lot more freedom in sharing the findings. Again, there's just so much research that has been done, especially cancer researchers, that has been done on the mushroom that we're able to offer, the Coriolus versicolor mushroom. And you have so much more freedom to share what's actually happening with animals than you do with people, even though you have all the proof and the empirical data in the world. You have the lab results, you have the scans, you have, the diet, you have everything to prove it. But because they don't have their hand in it, they're not getting anything for it. Oh, it's not approved. You have to be careful what you're saying, because natural things can't be patented or approved by the FDA because they're naturally occurring. Oh, then all of a sudden they don't want people talking about it or sharing what it can do.
Right.
They're not making any money off of it.
Well, that's what it is. The propaganda machine's so huge too. I just pointed out on our news program yesterday, there's a movie, a trailer called Saw X that's out there. And at the beginning of that trailer, they talk about a guy getting all the cures and everything's wonderful. He's going to Mexico to get cured from cancer, so on and so forth. And then what do? They flip the narrative on purpose and said he was never cured there. They lied to him. So now he's going after them because they left his tumor in their brain. So what they did is they told you, because the narrative is switching and everybody knows that you can get cures outside the United States and things can be taken care of. So what they did is now they're putting fear in everybody that if you go there, it's a big lie. And this is how the propaganda works. That's the Hollywood.
The cancer is still spreading. I'm afraid there's nothing else we can do. There is one person who might be able to help.
Our program is a two-pronged treatment outside Mexico City. The results have been stunning.
She saved my life.
You're in very good hands with us.
After that, what happens then?
Your whole life happens then. John Kramer.
According to these scans, the tumor was never removed.
How much time do I have?
Months, at best.
I still have a lot of work that needs to be done.
And Big Pharma's in control of everything. So they're in control of Hollywood. They're in control of everything we can imagine. So right after that, I hinted around because I happen to know I have, my platform is SBG Pets, and I happen to know there's a button there that says human. And if you go there, there's a really cool product that I can't talk about, but it may be opposite for what they're talking about in that movie. So I want to go over something, and I want to talk about solutions after that. The talk big time now is even the normal public are starting to figure out that vaccines may not be what they've been told they are. What's that correlation to pets?
Yeah, we're finding the same thing in pets, and it took us a little while. We were wondering why almost 100% of the animals that I see or the people that I talk to, their pets have tumors. And we were wondering why, 20% of our pets are developing autoimmune diseases and all of these things. And thankfully, there's a lot of research that's being done right now that's finding correlations between the increase of allergies, autoimmune diseases, tumors, and cancers to the increase of required vaccinations. And not only the types of vaccinations, but also, the frequency of them, right? Because a vaccination is supposed to make you immune. Like that's the whole point of it, right? That's the whole point of getting vaccinated, is to try to make the animal immune to whatever disease or condition they're trying to prevent. Well, when you're immune to something, you're immune to it for life. But so not only are they giving us these vaccines, but then they're requiring annually or every 3 years to get vaccinated against the same condition over and over and over again.
Right.
It's not logical. Like it's the same question we have about the one that we're being told to take right now. It's like, if it works, then why do I have to keep getting it? It doesn't make any sense.
Right.
So it's not only the quantity of them that we have to get for our pets regarding all the various conditions that we're also scared of, but also the frequency with which we have to get them that's causing a lot of concerns. And they're finding it's destabilizing the immune systems. They're even telling us up front, oh, by the way, these vaccines can't guarantee immunity. So now we're injecting all of the serums and foreign proteins into our pets' bodies, into their bloodstreams, that may or may not protect them against a condition that they may or may not get. But we're certainly 100% injecting it into their bodies.
Right.
It's just not logical. And again, it's, if the immune system is functioning properly, it should be able to protect the body against all of those things anyway. So the great irony is that we're doing this to protect our pets, but the only thing that it's really doing to our pets is destabilizing the immune system, which is what should be the thing that's protecting them the most.
Mm-hmm.
So it really has created a catch-22. We're finding, over vaccination with the frequency that we're giving our pets these vaccines is giving them all kinds of behavioral problems, because it's creating inflammation in their brains and even lesions in their brains, which just makes me so sad, that we think we're doing the right thing. We want them to be able to go to the dog parks or, play with other animals or see people. So they make us feel like we're doing the right things by we're protecting them and we're protecting other animals. And then we find out years later, it's like actually creating lesions in their brains and inflammation in their brains and allergies and autoimmune conditions, just, all of these various things. And so the more that I'm learning about vaccination in pets, and I definitely in people, from now on, I'm going to avoid it, because you just don't know what you don't know.
Yeah.
But now, after learning everything, and these are studies that are being done, are like frickin' Brooks, like the Journal of Veterinary Medicine, like Merck Manual. These are very well-known, reputable organizations that are finding that vaccines can trigger skin allergies, and they're finding tumors present at the spots of injection where the vaccines are getting injected. So now, have you noticed, they used to vaccinate your pet on their
Yeah.
neck?
That's right.
Now they do it in their legs.
Interesting.
They do it in their back thighs. Why did that change? Because it's easier to remove a tumor from the back thigh than it is to remove it
Oh,
from the neck.
Lord.
That's why they changed it.
Well, they know what's going on. I mean, so if you go correlate it back to humans, the Amish don't have ADHD, they don't have ADD, they don't have many autoimmune issues, and they don't have any autism whatsoever. They don't also take vaccines. In regards to the food, it's very interesting, because animals in the wild don't have tumors, they don't have autoimmune issues, and they rarely have allergies, right?
It's rare.
Right.
Yeah, all of those are rare.
Very rare, right?
100%.
But what they find out is the animals that are what we call half wild, the ones that they're wild, but they're still fed by humans. Like they'll throw food out and meat out, for the deer and everybody, for them to come and eat it off their property. Suddenly they have all those diseases. I mean, the evidence is so clear of what's going on in the food and everything else. So let's talk about your solutions, because we introduced the solutions with your company on our first video, and the outpouring of love that we were getting because of this, and the results that people are seeing in their pets, was so heartwarming. I said I have to do another video.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because it was just incredible. So give us an idea what your solutions are.
Yeah, and it is. People are so loving and so supportive, and we're all just trying to figure it out as we go. So it's nice that we have each other, and we can lean on each other to help us go forward. But if we keep doing what we're doing, expecting different results, I'm pretty sure that's Einstein's definition of insanity, right? Keep doing the same thing over and over and expecting different results.
He would know, because he was insane. So that makes perfectly sense.
It was like right on the cusp. That's what they say, right? That's what genius is, just like right on the cusp. So we don't want people to be living in fear. We don't want people to be living just feeling helpless or discouraged, like there's nothing that we can do. Like, I guess we just have to roll over, you know. Like I said, God's given us everything that we need in nature. So we have put together some natural options that actually help to support the immune system. I mean, that is the most important things that we can be doing right now for our pets and even for ourselves. Our entire focus should be on helping our immune systems to get strong again so that they can work optimally, helping our pets' immune systems work optimally, because every single thing that they're throwing at us for our whole family, including our four-legged family, is meant to compromise the immune system, from what they inject into our bodies to what we put on our bodies to what we feed ourselves, to the air quality, to the water quality. All of it is meant to compromise the immune systems so that we're dependent on outside things, right? Their medications and their, you know, all the treatments and all of the things that they want to sell us. That their goal is to make us completely dependent on those things to stay alive. So the way to, you know, go back to what God has planned for us is to do it naturally and to eat the proper foods, feed the body the whole foods that do so that it can do what it was designed to do. And there is a very heavily studied mushroom, I almost switched those two words, a very heavily studied mushroom called the Coriolis versicolor mushroom that's been studied for over 25 years. There are over 400 published clinical studies and trials that have been done worldwide on, you know, animals, people from the top organizations and institutions in the world, like Sloan Kettering, MD Anderson Cancer Center, Harvard University, Susan G. Komen. And what they've all found is that this mushroom actually modulates the immune system. And the immune system is the body's first defense against everything, from little simple things like allergies and infections and viruses, all the way up to the most catastrophic things like our pets are dealing with, the cancers, the tumors, you know, these autoimmune conditions. And it knows exactly what to do. It knows exactly how to fix it, but it's just too weak to work to its full potential. So what we've done is we've taken the most potent strain that's available. It's this actually the strain that a lot of the studies that have been done on this mushroom, it's that strain. So it's very efficable. And we take that mushroom and we put it into treats for our pets. So we add it into cookies for dogs and horse cakes for horses and, you know, gravies for cats and dogs, and just all different ways to get it into our pet system so that they can actually enjoy it, getting all of those supplements. And what we've been finding is that within just about a week or so, really, people are noticing so many positive improvements, even in humans. You know, we also have capsules that are available for humans as well that want to be proactive and say, no, I'm taking this back, and start feeding their body this mushroom. And they're noticing within 30 days, it's almost a night and day difference with how they're feeling. And again, this is not a medication. You know, people ask, will it help with this specific thing or that specific thing? And it's not medicine. It's just food. It's no different from a mushroom you would eat on a salad or on a piece of pizza. It doesn't interact with any medications or treatments, can't get addicted, can't overdose. There are 0 side effects that they found in the 25 years that they've been studying it. So it really is a gift. And we just say, get it into the body, whether it's for pets or for people, just get it into the body, start feeding the body this mushroom. What it's going to do is support the immune system. And then the immune system is intelligent, and it will prioritize what needs to be addressed in the body. So it will intelligently send whatever it needs to the places it needs to go. So, you know, in animals and people, we're finding all kinds of wonderful things. It rebuilds bone, it repairs the body. We're seeing animals that are supposed to have surgeries for torn ACLs, you know, ligaments or tendons. Within a month, the body repairs its own ligaments and tendons, and they don't have to now have that $3,000 to $5,000 surgery that they were scheduled to have. We're seeing animals with bone density issues, cancers, tumors, severe allergies. They're getting shots every month to help manage the allergies. And just after a couple days, like about a week, getting this mushroom into their system, they no longer need the shots anymore. Or the allergy medications, we're seeing autoimmune within about 30 days. Those are completely clearing up, the autoimmune conditions. And I can just go on and on. Puppies with parvo, you know, gum and teeth problems. I can go on and on and on and on, because we're just so conditioned to treat symptoms that we forget that the immune system will actually go to the source of whatever is causing all of those symptoms in the first place and address it there. And that's a much more smart way to address it, right? Than to try to just mitigate and manage all of these symptoms and juggle them all the time. So it's been absolutely phenomenal. And, you know, like what you've experienced with your viewers and your audience, and it just fills my heart up to hear how much better animals and people are doing once they get this mushroom into their system. And it's why I wake up every day. You know, I wake up every day so excited about what I'm going to hear and the different experiences that people are having. And I go to bed every night just so grateful that I get to be a part of this. And we call it the mushroom revolution, you know, and really, really helping pets and people get better just one at a time, one at a time.
Well, if I remember, wasn't the formation of the company because who formed it had an experience with the mushrooms?
Mm-hmm.
Can you tell that story, or is that too much because of the FDA and all the other crap?
No, we can share that story. It's actually why the first study started here in the United States, is because of this individual. So one of our founders, Simon Liu, his mother had lung cancer, and it had gone away. She did chemotherapy first, and then it came back years later. And the surgery and the radiation didn't work on the second time. So they had given her just a couple weeks left to live. I think they said 6 weeks. And so the family started reaching out to other family members and letting them know she only had a couple weeks left, you know, reach out to her so you can say your goodbyes. And their cousin, who is a physician in Japan, where they actually use this mushroom, it's the #1 best-selling cancer treatment in Japan.
Hear that, folks? Thank you.
Mushroom.
Yep.
It's #1 best-selling cancer treatment in Japan. And Susan G. Komen actually did a great study on that. And what he said, we need to get this mushroom to her. She needs to try that. And so it took weeks for them to get it here into the United States. It took, I think, two weeks for it to come. But she started taking this mushroom every day, and within about a week, her night sweats were going away. She was feeling a lot better. And just week after week, she just felt better. Her mood was improving. She felt happier. Her coughing was less because it had actually gone from her lungs and started spreading into other areas of her body. And after about 3 months, she was just feeling perfectly fine. And remember, they had only given her weeks left.
So she's already doubled that.
She's already doubled that. Yeah. So she goes back to MD Anderson Cancer Center, which was who was seeing her. And they're like, they're looking at the results. They're like, you're in remission. We have never seen this before. What are you doing? And she told them, and they asked for the mushroom. So they brought the mushroom to them. And that's where the first study started here in the United States. This was almost 30 years ago that happened. And since then, like I said, it's spread. There are now over 400 studies. They started recommending other people that they knew to this particular strain of the mushroom, because there are a lot, like if you go online and look up turkey tail or Coriolis versicolor mushroom, you're going to see like a ton of different options, but a lot of them they're just not as potent. And so they're not having near the same results that we're finding, or a lot of these researchers are finding with this particular strain. And so they said, man, 2 weeks is too long, especially with someone that's fighting every single day. 2 to 3 weeks to get it to them, they might not have that long. And so they worked it out, brought it to the United States, and now we offer in the United States where people can now get it within just days. And it's been absolutely phenomenal. And, you know, she ended up living another 23 years after that. And she ended up passing just from old age, like nothing was wrong. And it's so funny because we hear this a lot. You know, people have their results, their labs. It even happened with me with my autoimmune disease. You know, I started here and then I started taking the mushroom. And when I went back and they did the same exact test, they were like, it looks like a completely different person. Like it doesn't even look like the same person, especially with how quickly, you know, within just a couple of months, for my autoimmune was 5.5 months. I went from inflammation levels of 522, which is astronomical, down to below 1.
Wow.
with nothing else but eating this mushroom, eating the Enforce capsules. So we about, oh goodness, so they were doing that for 11 years, and then 5 years ago, so 16 years ago, they decided to bring it into the country to make it more accessible for people to get. And there's just thousands and thousands of stories and testimonials and lab results, and like I said, all of the proof is there. And then 6 years ago, they lost, one of the owners lost his dog to cancer at 11 years old. The other owner lost his 8-year-old dog to cancer. His daughter lost her 7-year-old dog to cancer. And his other daughter lost her 4-year-old dog to cancer,
Oh,
all
wow.
in the same year in 2017. So they were sitting in their boardroom, like super sad about it. And they were like, wait a minute, like we've been seeing all of this stuff with humans. I wonder if this would help for animals. And that's when they started doing some research, and they found a study that had been done by the University of Pennsylvania School of Veterinary Care. And they found that dogs with cancer that took this Coriolis versicolor mushroom lived twice as long as the dogs who did not take this Coriolis versicolor mushroom. So they were like, oh my goodness, we gotta put this into a treat or something. We gotta make a way for this to get it into our pet system. And so it's funny because we always joke a lot of times companies will test on animals first, and we tested on humans first. Before we gave it to the animals, we had like
Right.
years and years of these results before we thought, we were like, okay, this is safe for our pets.
Right. That's awesome.
Yeah.
So let's talk about your products really quick, because I've got 3 dogs. I talked about my German Shepherd a lot, but let's talk about my Husky. I have a Husky, and I think he's about 10 years old. Geez, 8, 10 years old. I'm not quite sure on him. All I know of those is he has a tumor that was about this big, right?
Mhm.
And then it got to this big. It was absolutely humongous. He's now on the food, and my wife just pointed out today it's half the size.
Yeah.
And that's just the food that this company, which you guys, you can find at sbgpets.com, but that's just the food as you see on your screen. That is the food that he's taken, and that's it. And now, after having a conversation with you, I'm giving him I'll give him the mush puppies and the ponies and all the other good stuff too with the mushrooms, but only the food. And that's the result he's already getting.
Yeah, a lot of the food that we're giving our pets, unfortunately, even the higher end brands, they're baking it at very high temperatures, and it's charring the kibble. And that's why there are a lot of carcinogens in it. So many of our pets, the tumors that they're just getting from vaccines and a lot of different things that are happening to their bodies is just exacerbated by when we feed them food that's charred and full of carcinogens. And that's something that we don't think about. I never thought about it, as I've had dogs my entire life, and I never thought, they're eating the same food every single day, every meal,
Right.
for their entire life. It never clicked, until I started learning more about all this and ended up getting certified in pet nutrition. And so, it's when we switch those foods, we get rid of those fillers, we get rid of those preservatives, we give them human grade whole foods. By the way, if you're giving your pet something that you're not willing to eat yourself or put in your own mouth, you shouldn't be giving it to your pet. Like, that's how much you should trust the brand or whatever products we're giving them. It should all be human grade whole food, no questions asked.
And the key is whole food, because there's a lot of human grade food that is horrible for us too.
Yeah, because it's genetically modified. It has
Right.
fillers in it, and they trick us. They tell us, yeah, this has peas and beans and lentils. Like, you'll look in, like, I went to a major health store that we all know about. It's a national chain. And I went through the dog food aisle, and I looked in the back of every bag. And these are not inexpensive foods, like 2 to 3 times the amount that people are normally spending for pet food. And every single bag had peas, beans, or lentils listed multiple times within the first 5 ingredients. So when you see that, that means that they're using those ingredients as protein fillers.
Oh, wow.
So they're using it to increase the percentage of protein. So for example, the food that we offer, the protein level that you see, the percentage is all meat based. It comes from meat. It doesn't come from anything else. Meat's expensive. So what they do is they put a little bit of meat in it, then add a bunch of peas, pea protein, pea stock, pea powder, they call it all these different things. You'll see it
Mhm.
multiple times. And then they go, oh, look, this is 35% protein, because peas and all that are a lot cheaper than chicken or beef or whatever,
Mhm.
whatever it might be. And so they're putting all these fillers in it. And people ask me, well, how do I know if my pet food has fillers in it? Because you do look at the back and there's like 100 ingredients and you don't know what's what. Many of them you can't even pronounce. So there's a really simple test that you can do at home. If you just take a piece of their kibble and drop it into a bowl of water, what normally happens?
Yeah, it starts to break up
It's like
and
swells.
swells up. Yeah, it makes it big.
Yeah, it expands. That means that there are fillers in it. When you drop the Sequoia kibble or when you drop any whole food into water, it just breaks apart. It doesn't
Right.
like swell up, right? So imagine what's happening inside of your pet's stomach when they eat this very dry food and they eat, and then they instantly go chug water to try to rehydrate themselves.
Hmm.
All of that food is now expanding inside of their stomachs.
Oh, wow.
And a lot of times it makes them sick or lethargic or bloated. I hear many times people tell me their pet throws up after they eat, and that's why. There's only one way for it to come out, as it's swelling up. And so we want to avoid the fillers, not only because it's nutritionally better for them to not have them, but it's also just more comfortable for them to remove those from the foods. But we also add probiotics and prebiotics to our food, and naturally sourced taurine. So again, they're getting all of the supplements that they need to keep them healthy. And it's going to be funny when you start giving them a lot of that mushroom what's the word, regularly. Excuse me, my puppy just came in here, so I got a little distracted. So when you start giving them that mushroom more regularly, you're going to notice like the acceleration of the healing, right? The healing process just gets accelerated. And we've actually seen in some cases when the tumor's too big for the body to break it apart quickly, or if it's malignant, like if it's cancerous and malignant, the body will actually do its own like surgery on the tumor and remove it. So we've seen like a tumor on the leg that the skin will open up and the body will start pushing the tumor out.
Wow.
And then close up the skin and heal it. It's bizarre. It just blows me away, and it's so fascinating, and it just makes me so much more sure that we're doing the right things when we see what's possible when the body just has the natural support that it deserves.
Hmm.
It can do all of these things on its own. It's absolutely fascinating. And we go to the doctor and they tell us our cholesterol levels, and they tell us our blood pressure levels, and they tell us our blood sugar levels. They never tell us our immune levels. They
That's
never
right.
tell us
That's right.
how high is your immunity? How good is your immunity? That can be tested, and that can
Yes.
be measured.
Great
But they
point.
don't tell us that. Why?
Yeah. Great point, because they know they want to keep it low. Bingo.
But they do want to tell us when our blood sugar levels are off, or our blood pressure levels are off, or our cholesterol is off, or our hormone levels are out of
Mhm.
whack. They want to tell us all of that so that they can get us to buy something from them that we'll be
That's right.
dependent on for the rest of our lives. But they
Right.
never want to tell us, hey, oh, look, oh, great, look, your immune system's doing great. It's at this level. This is what we're going to do to get it up to this level. Like they don't do that.
Yeah.
Not
It's
because they can't.
right. It's it's because it's a vicious circle, and most people don't know that less than 4% of the education in medical school is nutrition, but over 90% of the issues are nutrition. So clearly 90% of your education should be in nutrition, but big pharma wouldn't sponsor that now, would they?
And that directly correlates what we're finding in the veterinary industry too. where only 5% of veterinarians are double licensed in both nutrition and medicine. 95% of them are only licensed in medicine. So they are restricted from giving nutritional advice because they haven't studied nutrition, they studied medicine. So they can only give you medicinal advice, right?
Right.
So why are they able, or how are they able then in a lot of veterinary offices to recommend certain brands of food to us? Does that tell us something about how that food is categorized?
Yep,
Is
absolutely.
it categorized as nutritional product, or is it categorized as medicine? If a veterinarian who's licensed in medicine is recommending it for us.
Yes. That's
These are the questions we have to ask.
No, that is phenomenal. So I want to promote this company. The link I use is svgpets.com. Full transparency, folks, I do make a commission on this. It's well worth it. In fact, if you'd like to become a brand advocate, I would go there also, or you can contact us for that. We have wonderful people answering the phone like Dale. But what I'd like to talk about really quick or ask specific questions. One is my wife has a question for the mushrooms. Would that also be used as a preventative for people?
Oh goodness, yes, we highly recommend it. You know, don't wait till we get to the point where you now have to make really hard decisions that could have possibly been avoided. So we recommend every animal, every person should be getting this mushroom into their systems daily. There's a suggested amount there. Like if you're a human, it's 1 capsule for every 50 pounds. And then for your animals, based off of which product you're giving them, there will be suggestions based off of their weight as well. And for just to be preventative and just for general health and well-being, we recommend that suggested amount. But if you are dealing with something that you're concerned about, but that maybe isn't life-threatening, like for example, my autoimmune problem, where it wasn't going to die, but I was very concerned about it. I was having seizures and passing out and doing all of that type of stuff. So for those types of concerns, we recommend 2 to 3 times the suggested amount, because you can't take too much of it. As a matter of fact, the more you take, the better. You can really get your immune system up and running. And then as the body starts course correcting everything, then you can just go down to the suggested amount. And then if someone's dealing with something catastrophic for their pets or even for themselves, something more severe or terminal, we recommend 4 to 5 times the suggested amount that's there.
Got it. Wow, fantastic. So the food is amazing. I can tell you that, folks. They have kibble, they have dry food that you get in water too, and canned food. I order all of it because it's diversity for the pets, which is amazing. They have the super sauce. Can you explain about the super sauce? Because the dogs, now I'm bad. I know I'm supposed to put the super sauce on stuff, but I spoil my pups sometimes, and I literally have them lick it right out of when I squeeze it for them. They lick it right off of the packet.
The super sauce is one of my favorite products because it not only has that Coriolis versicolor mushroom in it for the immune support, but it has vitamins and minerals and antioxidants in it. So especially if your pet is like eating a lot of rocks or chewing on wood or grass or dirt a lot, or even if they're eating their own poop or other dogs' poop, that usually tells you that they're lacking minerals in their diet.
Interesting.
Yeah, so this has some additional minerals that can help them get back into their systems. But all you do is you just mix in a little bit. You could either squeeze it into their mouth directly like Lewis does, or you can just mix a little bit in with their food, and it gets all that goodness of glucosamine, carotene, chondroitin, like just so much good, naturally sourced supplements into your pet's system every day. And it also adds variety for them. So it's a little treat for them to enjoy as well. But we have that for both dogs and cats. And that's my absolute favorite for pets.
Cool. So
I would like to say also, if you have a really large dog, or maybe a dog with like severe allergies or more severe conditions, you could actually get the horse cakes. They're called the mush ponies.
Mhm.
And you can give your dog the mush ponies and they can get more of that into their system, more of that mushroom faster into their system. And it's a lot more cost effective for you.
Yeah, I've just started giving my 17-year-old the mush ponies, and he has all these challenges that he's working through with his teeth and stuff, and a lot of it actually seems to be better. He's on the food and so on and so forth. But I just started giving these, and I just crush it up for him, and then he eats it and he enjoys it, and so. And now I'll be giving it to the other dogs too. I mean, it's awesome information. And I know I'm going to, and right now I guarantee you my wife's to my side. I'm not supposed to say that. We'll be, as of tonight, I'm sure we'll be taking the Enforce, because I'm very excited about your story about the immune and the big C word that we're not supposed to talk about, but it's just amazing. Guys, I have to dive into a company well before I'll even recommend it. And I was talking to another representative of this company for a long time before I got started, because I was doing my due diligence and my investigation. But I can tell you that Kristen and Kurt, her husband, and Dale, who I work with, are epic, honest people with integrity. And if they're saying they're getting phenomenal results, they're getting phenomenal results. Well, it's been wonderful. Anything else you want to dive into before we separate temporarily?
No, I just want to thank you for all that you're doing. We're so appreciative of you and your platform and just being a voice for people and, pushing back. That's what we're going to do, right? We're not going to lay down and let all this stuff happen. We're going to be the change that we want to see. So thank you for all that you're doing. And thank you for allowing us to share our hearts on your platform with your friends and your audience.
Well, and thank you for everything you do. I really, really appreciate it. Take care.
Thank you. Bye.